Good morning. Today we are going to see the viscera of the parotid gland. Before that, we should have to know the site or the location where the parotid gland is situated. So for that we need to know the location for the parotid bed or the parotid mold. So in this region we can see that this is the area for the parotid gland which is in our body, and it is related anteriorly to the posterior border of ramus of the mandible. Above it is related to the external acoustic meatus, the zygomatic arch. Behind it is related to the mastoid process which is present this side, and below this it is related to the sternomastoid muscle and the posterior belly of digastric which take origin from this region. And medial surface gets relation with the styloid process. In this area the styloid process is very small and broken one. So this one is the styloid process, and styloid process and the muscles of the styloid process, they come in the medial relation. So this entire area is the mold for the parotid or the parotid bed. Now we are going to see the viscera of the parotid gland. So this is the viscera, in which you can find that it is a soft lobulated glandular structure which is shaped like an inverted pyramid. It has a small pointed apex and a concave region which is known above the base above. The base is related with this external auricle. This is the cartilage of the pinna or the ear cartilage, external ear cartilage, and this is situated above. This is the superficial or the lateral surface of the gland. This one is the parotid duct. So the surfaces are the superficial or lateral surface, the anteromedial surface, the posteromedial surface. This one is the medial border which separates between the anteromedial and the posteromedial surface. This, if we look from this side, this is the anterior border of the gland from which is radiating the parotid duct, and it is the posterior border. So there are three borders and three surfaces in the parotid gland. Now the parotid gland, if we look into the parotid gland, we find that this gland is related to some important structures. So those structures, before we go into the detail, we will just have a view in the pictorial description. Before that, I just want to say that this one is the anterior border which transmits most of the branches of the facial nerve. The facial nerve is actually passing below through the stylomastoid foramen. It exists. The facial nerve, it exists through the stylomastoid foramen, and from the stylomastoid foramen, the facial nerve, after it exits, it makes about 1 centimeter short course, and then it enters and pierces the parotid gland. The facial nerve is actually dividing the gland into the superficial zone and the deeper zone. And the facial nerve also trunk gives rise to several branches as it enters into the gland. There are the two at first branches, that is temporofacial branch and the cervicofacial branch. We will see those things. So let us we are starting with a brief view of our lecture topics also, because these are already taught to you. So the parotid capsule that you can see is actually, we know that there are two capsules. There is a true and a false capsule. True one is actually the condensation of the fibrous stroma. This is the fibrous stroma of the gland, and it condenses and makes a true capsule, and outside it we get a tough false capsule. That tough false capsule that we can see here, it is actually, this is due to the splitting of the investing layer of the deep cervical fascia, and this is the outside capsule or the false capsule, and it splits into a superficial lamella and a deep lamella. Superficial lamella gets the parotidomasseteric fascia, it blends with the zygomatic arch, and the deep lamella is thinner and give rise to the stylomandibular ligament. This is the dissection of the cadaver. This is the dissected face of the cadaver, in which we can see the parotid gland with some nerves which are also radiating. These are the branches of the facial nerve, and now we will go into the relations So here you can see one that is important. This is the superficial temporal artery, the temporalis muscle, and here are coming out of all the nerves. The auriculotemporal nerve is there, then zygomatic branch of the facial nerve, then there is the buccal branch, then we find the parotid duct. This one is the upper buccal, this one is the lower buccal. Anteriorly we find the masseter muscle over which it is lying, and further below if we go downwards we can again find that it is related to some other branches of the facial nerve which we will be seeing. So this one is the inner surface of the parotid gland that we are seeing here. In the inner surface it is grooved, as we have already shown in the viscera that there is anteromedial and a posteromedial surface, and there is impression for the muscles in the gland. There is impression for the ramus of the mandible. Anteriorly we find this is the impression for the ramus of the mandible and the styloid process also, and this is the part in front of the styloid process which is called as the pre-styloid process, and posteriorly this is the post-styloid process. This is impression for the digastric muscle and impression for mastoid process, as also the sternocleidomastoid, they lie in the posteromedial surface. So coming to the relations of the gland. Now in the anteromedial surface, as we have already seen, in the anteromedial surface we find it is related to the medial pterygoid and the ramus of the mandible. So coming to this one is the anteromedial surface, and in the anteromedial surface there will be the relations of the two muscles, the medial pterygoid as also the masseter. And this one is the posterior surface. In the posterior surface you will get the relation with the sternomastoid, posterior belly of the digastric muscle. You will also get the relation with the transverse process of atlas and the rectus capitis lateralis muscle, and along with that it will be related to the structures of the carotid sheath, because apex of the parotid gland is actually appearing in the carotid triangle of the neck. So here as we can see, these are the important structures which are present in between the two vessels, that is the 9, 10, 11, 12 cranial nerves in between the internal jugular vein and the internal carotid artery. So now we are going to see the anatomical position of the parotid gland, and right side left side is determined by the presence of the ear auricle. So the ear auricle is attached laterally, so this one is the lateral surface, and so this is the parotid of the left side, parotid gland of left side. Surfaces we have already told, this is the superficial or lateral surface, anteromedial, posteromedial surface, entirely anterior border this one, medial border of the pharyngeal border which comes in relation to the wall of pharynx, and this is the posterior border. This is the parotid duct, and where we have left behind that this one is the parotid posteromedial surface, and this surface comes in relation with this mastoid process as also the sternomastoid muscle, posterior belly of the digastric muscle, and this is separated from anteromedial surface by the medial border or the pharyngeal border, and from this anterior border comes out branches of the facial nerve. Mainly, first of all there will be the temporal branch, zygomatic, the upper buccal branch. Then so as we have now seen the viscera of the parotid gland, let us now just recapitulate some points of the visceral impressions and the surface features. So we have already told that there are 3 surfaces and 3 borders in the parotid gland, and as you can see that this is the medial surface of the gland. Here lies the medial border, and it is the parotid duct here. This one is the anteromedial surface. Actually this is indented anteromedial surface, and in between anteromedial surface and the posteromedial surface there lies the medial border, and impression for styloid process is close to the medial border. It is also related, as we have told, that within the gland passes external carotid artery with its branches in the deepest plane, and in intermediate plane we will have the formation for the retromandibular vein, facial vein. Posteriorly, if you look into the posteromedial surface, there is impression for mastoid process and the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Lower part of posteromedial surface, there will be impression for lodging of the posterior belly of the digastric. So this is the apex of the gland. Here lies the convex base of the gland, which is actually related to the external acoustic meatus and the posterior part of the temporomandibular joint, and this one is the anterior border. Impression for external acoustic meatus is present here. Now, as we were discussing about anteromedial and the posteromedial surface, so let us look into these relations once more for recapitulation. So anteromedial surface, it is importantly related to the ramus of mandible, the posterior border of ramus of mandible, and also to the important muscle of mastication, that is masseter muscle, medial pterygoid muscle. And one more thing, that through the gland we have told that facial nerve and its branches are passing. So the facial nerve is passing in a groove through the gland and is dividing it into a superficial and a deeper zone. And posteromedially, when we find that it is related to the this is the pterygoid process of this parotid gland. It is related to the mastoid process, it is related to the sternomastoid muscle, it is related to posterior belly of digastric. This is the entire posterior region, and here there is internal jugular vein, the internal carotid artery is there also, in between which passes the 4 important cranial nerves. These are the important relation for the posteromedial surface, and it is the transverse process of the atlas and the rectus capitis lateralis also gets related. So these are the 9, 10, 11, 12 cranial nerve passing in between the internal carotid artery and the internal jugular vein, which is related most importantly to the posteromedial surface. Again, in this surface, the posteromedial surface, what we can see here, we can see that the posteromedial surface is related with these structures, that is to the external carotid and the internal carotid artery, which are entering through the gland. Now, branches for the facial nerves. The facial nerve branches, they are actually related to the anterior border of the gland mainly. And if we look into the gland, then we will find that through the base is passing some structures, through the anterior border some structures are passing, through apex some structure, and through the posterior border there are some structures. So what are those? Through the base, if we start, we find that superficial temporal blood vessels and auriculotemporal nerve is related. Posteriorly, it is related with the posterior auricular branch of the facial nerve, as also the posterior auricular nerve and the vessels. And in the anterior border, we find radiating the pes anserinus, the rest of the branches of facial nerve, namely the temporal branch. Then there will be the zygomatic branch of the facial nerve, in between which pass the transverse facial artery. Then there is the upper buccal branch and the lower buccal branch of facial nerve, in between which there passes the parotid duct. Then there is the marginal mandibular branch of facial nerve, the cervical branch of facial nerve, and the 2 divisions of the retromandibular vein. So this is the structure for the facial nerve. In the facial nerve, which we can see that it is passing through the substance of the gland in the form of the temporal branch, zygomatic branch, buccal branch, marginal branch, and the cervical branch. These are just like radiation of the goose feet, hence the name pes anserinus. And as we have already mentioned that the intermediate plane of this parotid gland, the intermediate plane, it's occupied by the retromandibular vein. So here we find that within the substance of parotid gland, at first if you look above, then you see superficial temporal vein and maxillary vein, they come to join and form the retromandibular vein, which again divide into anterior and the posterior divisions. Anterior division goes to join with the common facial vein, and it gives rise to the facial vein, this one. And posterior division, it will join again with the posterior auricular to form the external jugular vein. So these are the veins which are formed inside the parotid gland, and they are lying in the intermediate plane. In the superficial plane, we encountered the facial nerve with its branches. In the intermediate plane, we encountered the retromandibular vein formation, divisions and branches. And now we come to the deepermost plane, which is occupied by this external carotid artery and its branches. So external carotid artery, as you can see, When it enters into the parotid gland, it will divide into the superficial temporal and the maxillary artery, and also it gives of posterior auricular artery, transverse facial artery. So this is the deepest relation within the parotid gland and the arteries, which is occupied by the external carotid artery. Finally, last but not the least, let us see about the duct of the parotid gland. Regarding the duct, it is only about 5 cm long and about 3 mm wide, and it comes out through the anterior border. Then it crosses across the masseter, winds around it, pierces the buccopharyngeal fascia, buccal pad of fat, and then it pierces buccinator muscle. So in this dissection behind, just by side, you can see that the parotid duct, it pierces the buccinator muscle, and finally it goes on to open into the mouth, vestibule of the mouth. It opens into the vestibule of the mouth just above the inner papilla over the upper second molar tooth. So that's all about the parotid gland and its duct. Hope this is self-explanatory one. Thank you.